I was dressed in my Mr. Glass outfit.
Yeah.
And then I said,
that's
you
right.
remember what the superpower
Right,
was?
right,
He's like, you
right.
need skills to be a superhero. And then you said to me, what skills do you have? And I said, oh no, interviewing. And then you said, oh, maybe you could be the guy that could find out the one thing that nobody wants to answer.
Right.
I thought it was brilliant. It was
Right.
such a great answer on the spot.
You're the guy that, yeah.
Right. Now this time I'm prepared because now I've seen Arrow.
You like it?
I loved it. I think that, in the fall season, I've watched everything now. I do think it's like definitely one of the standout shows, but I think that it all depends on whether people can relate to a comic book adaptation. And do you think that we're ready for that?
Well, it's not. If you talk to the producers, it's not really a comic book show. Like it's a kid. They think of it like a crime drama. And if you talk with Andrew Kreisberg about what he liked about the pilot and subsequently what he's been a fan of, seeing because we're now on episode 5.
Yeah.
It's the interaction between the characters. It's not the action, which is continued. But I mean that stuff sort of takes care of itself if you don't have the fundamental foundation pieces of cool character interaction. Then it doesn't really matter.
Right.
So yeah, I think people will relate to it because it's a show about a superhero, but it's about all the underpinnings and all the repercussions and all these sort of peripheral damage that path causes.
You had such a great quote that I read where you said that when you read the pilot script, it seemed like you were playing like 3 or 4. Four characters. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, you've seen the pilot. So there's Oliver before the island. There's Oliver. There's the public persona that he puts forward after the island. There is the Arrow character, and there is the Arrow character and him when he's being himself.
Right.
Are essentially the same person, but it's 4 very distinctive characters that I got to play. And as an actor, that's really exciting. And now, as we move into the series, there are still different aspects of him that I'm finding out because we're going to the island a lot. And what I was hoping would happen when I read the pilot was that for him to become what he becomes, the island would have to. It doesn't magically happen.
Yeah.
Before he is built up, he has to be beaten down.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that. They're taking him on the island, and we are grinding the character down to nothing. So that is in and of itself is a very different character to play.
Are we going to see sort of more flashback stuff? Because what I really liked about it is it just sort of snapshot. We didn't really see a lot of your proficiency with the archery and stuff like that. And is that stuff that we're going to see how that skill develops?
Of course, there are 2 stories being told. If the producers have always said, and I mean, things can change, but the idea would be that my whole experience on the island, my entire 5 years, would pick me up right after whatever the climactic moment is. Like if you see in the pilot, when you first see me on the island, if you notice, my hands are covered in blood, right? I have a knife in my hand.
Right.
Things have it's not like I roused from my bed and went, oh, there's a boat here. Like it's something has happened, and we're going. And there's a linear experience that's happening on the island, and hopefully we get the chance to take it all the way through to the moment I get rescued.
The scene that I liked the most in the pilot, and I think this relates to my next question, is I loved when you were on the lifeboat with your dad, and I can't remember who the other guy was, but when he just takes the gun, just out of nowhere, and then bang, bang. Can you talk a little bit about, Oliver's relationship with his father and your supporting cast and how important they are to the show?
They're critical. I mean, for Jamie Sheridan to do the pilot for us and he's a wonderful actor who cared so much. We were on this shitty life raft on in a big water tank, and it was one of those days of filming that is just long and arduous. So for him to do it and to put so much into it was amazing. Everybody on the cast is so invested.
Yeah.
That's really, really nice.
Yeah.
When I was up filming the pilot, they have the wall with all the headshots. So as the cast started to fill out, I was seeing it as it happened, right? Like before the announcement became public,
right.
I was seeing a headshot go up on the wall.
Right.
And so I remember when I saw Katie was cast, I was really excited. When I saw that, I was a big fan. I was a big fan of Lucy, so I was a big fan of Wolf. And when I saw that Cullen was like this broad white guy that was cast, and then as it started to fill out, I'd just be like, oh wow, oh really? And then the biggest one was Paul Blackthorne.
Yep.
Because he was my favorite villain on 24. So when I saw him, like, no.
Yeah.
Seriously?
And he's on the river. He was great on the
Oh,
river too.
he's good at everything,
Yeah.
and I love doing scenes with him. He's so intense, and our characters are at odds for obvious reasons, and I'll catch him like leading up to a scene. No two actors are the same, but I'm fairly relaxed until they call action, and that's actually the sort of the state of my character when I'm dealing with him. But I'll catch him because he hates me. I will catch him like just eyeing me before the scene, just like. Anyway, it's cool.
Is the layered aspect of it like? That's what I was telling your co-stars. I was just like, I'm used to seeing Liv on the OC, and I'm used to seeing Katie on like Melrose Place. So is the broadness, is the comic book appeal, is that what's bringing all this attention to the series and the intention for them to even sign up for it?
I think what's bringing all the attention to the series is I think the pilot's really good.
Right.
I think we have a really good show.
Right.
And I'm proud to say that. And I think that the subsequent episodes take what we did in the pilot and elevate it, which is almost sort of that. It's a happy accident. We had 17 days to shoot the pilot. We have 9 days to shoot subsequent episodes.
Right.
What's that? What that is forcing us to do is we're having to be a little bit more practical with our action scenes. We can't do the big setups, so there's a lot of handheld stuff, there's a lot of steady cam stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that people see and they go, well, this is actually happening. Like, can you tell it's me? We shot this great scene with Katie in her apartment where it's just all this handheld stuff, and it was really cool. I don't know what drew people to it aside from the team that's behind it: Greg Berlanti, Mark Guggenheim, Andrew Kreisberg, David Nutter doing the pilot. Like,
I guess my final question is: there's a lot of pressure to be the leading man on a show like this. Can you talk a little bit about that, or is it just another script for you?
Absolutely not. I think that the tempo and the atmosphere on a show depends entirely on the person that's number one on the call sheet. I've seen it done well. I've seen it done poorly, and seeing it done poorly was actually the better lesson.
Yeah.
Than seeing it done well. It's about it's about your crew wanting to work for you. I mean, my happiest time, my most relaxed time right now, because we are. The schedule's crazy.
Yeah.
My most relaxed time right now is from when they call rolling to when they call cut. Because then it's my time and I get to act. But otherwise, I'm on all the time. It's a lot of responsibility. It's great.
It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you again.